Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Elements of Success. I'm your host, Talha Jarad. We are talking about success. We are talking about how to make the maximum achievement in this life, and as a matter of fact, the maximum achievement in the hereafter as Muslims. Now, we've talked about laws that govern this universe, and we said that these laws, of course, govern everything in this life to make every part of this world, or the universe, as for that matter, runs on utmost accuracy and order. And we mentioned before some of the grand laws. We said there are grand laws that govern this universe, everything that happens in this universe, and our lives also. And we've mentioned before the law of intention as one of the grand laws, and we mentioned also the law of absolute justice as another grand law. Today we will mention the third grand law, probably the law that encompasses all of those laws and more. This is the law of divine will and decree. The law of divine will and decree. By the way, understanding this law is really something that might change your life completely. As a matter of fact, understanding this law will help you move your life from a certain level to so many different levels, and also to take care of your life, to be in full control, and to be able to manage your life in the best way possible in terms of what happens to you, and also in terms of your emotions. Now, what does this law say? This law says that anything that happens in this world, in this universe, happens by the order of Allah. And everything, every single thing, irrespective of how tiny it is, or any major thing, irrespective of how drastic it is, happens by the mere order of Allah and His will only. That's it. Now, this might sound simple. We as Muslims, we believe, as part of our faith, we believe in this. We believe that anything that happens by the order of Allah. But do we really apply this? Do we really apply this? There is a difference between only knowing it and understanding it and applying it. Knowing that this is a law that works perfectly in this universe, and this is a law that governs this life in everything that we do, whether personal, whether in the community, whether in the society, whether in the entire globe, or even the universe for that matter, and applying this and understanding this and comprehending this in our lives will make us different people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, not a leaf falls, but not a leaf, even a single leaf, anywhere in the world. Just imagine, just any leaf that befalls or falls anywhere in the world, but Allah knows about it. Not even a grain in the midst of the darkness of earth, but Allah knows about it. Can you imagine this? Even things at that tiny, somewhere in the world probably where there is no human being, there is no life even, and there is a little seed that's probably in the midst of the darkness of a rock, Allah knows about it. This is what actually even the wise man Luke told to his son, in Luqman. He said to his son, O my son, if it were but the weight of a mustard seed, Allah will bring it forth. A weight of a mustard seed. You see, now if we understand this and we live it, as I said, it's not only knowing it, but also living it. The fact that we start thinking about this in such a way that everything that happens to me happens because of the orders of Allah. He wanted this to happen, and these things have been pre-written, will change your perspective in life, will make you a different person, will make your feeling completely different. Now you become more of a satisfied person, and more of a person that knows how things go around him, so his emotion will be in utmost control. You will not be just dealing with the incidents every time you do something differently. You always know why things happen to you and why things occur this way. We always think that whatever happened because Allah wants these things to happen to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, say, nothing befalls on us but what Allah has decreed, what Allah has written, what Allah has prescribed upon us. Again, I know a lot of people say, well, we know this, but do we live it? There's a difference between knowing this, such concept, and the profound application of it in our lives. Now, a lot of people during probably time of ease, probably during the luxury time, they speak about these things. They say, well, we believe in this, but when really it happens to them, something really shakes them. Now, this is the difference between the people. This is the difference between the true believer and the one who just knows these things theoretically and never applied it, never thought of it in such a way to change his life. Now, on the other hand, there are people who live their life completely opposite to this law, even though they claim they know it. They live their life completely opposite to this law. So you see them get angry, get emotional, get so many negative reaction to things just because they don't comprehend this law. They never apply it. They know probably that what happens because of the decree of Allah and because of the orders of Allah, but they don't apply it. So if God forbid they lose a beloved one, they get completely in sadness and sorrow. Now, we're not saying that you should not be sorry or you should not feel sad. We are human beings at the end of the day. But the point is there is a difference between what level you can be at any given point of time. Now, if you believe completely that what happens to you happens because of the order of Allah, you will be balanced in your feelings. You will be balanced between the extremes. You will never go to the extreme, either in sadness or even in your happiness, because you will be balanced. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no disaster befalls on earth or in yourself, but it is in a book before we bring it to being, before we bring it forth to you. That's easy to Allah, or for Allah. That's easy for Allah. So that you grieve not what has escaped you, and you cheer not what you've gained. You become balanced between the two extremes. You do not become too cheerful because of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed you with, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed you with this in the first place. And you do not become completely in grief because you missed an opportunity or something escaped you, or you probably got ill or sick or something. You see, you are balanced. Believing in this law balances your emotion. And remember what we said before, that balancing the emotions is one of the important success factors that help us achieve the maximum in life. Now, this is why we're talking about emotional intelligence. This is why we're talking about how to deal with our emotions and how to deal with the laws that surround us. And we will talk extensively about each of these emotions that we encounter. But one of the critical factors that help us control our emotions and focus our energy, focus our thoughts, focus our ability to deal with situations in life is the fact that we understand the law of divine will and the law of the law of divine will and decree. Now, let's talk about the story here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. One of the things that will help us understand how to react to this thing. The story of Yaqub, Jacob, the prophet Jacob and his son, Yusuf. Now, the story, of course, the prophet Jacob loved his son so much, his little son Joseph, And he loved him so much to the point that he never want to let him go away. And as we know, the story goes where his brothers were envious of him, so they planned something, they plotted something, and they took him from his father, and then they dumped him in a well. And they came back to their father with a fake story that, well, the wolf ate him, and so on and so forth. So what was the reaction of the Prophet Jacob? He said, great patience. When he heard this, he said, great patience. Great patience. And Allah is the one who helped me, or I seek His help to help me in this situation. Now, years passed by, and instead of him getting back his son, he lost 2 more of his sons. So now he has 3 more, or 3 in total, that he doesn't have now. So when his sons came to him and told him about this, what did he say? The same answer, great patience. And I ask Allah for help, great patience. But what did he do? He just sat down and relaxed? No, he started putting an action plan. He said to give his sons instructions and told them how to change the situation. He said, oh, my sons, go and look for Joseph and his brother, and do not despair. Do not despair the mercy of Allah. Do not despair the mercy of Allah. And he put their minds in their heads that you have to change the situation from now to look for something, to do something about it. Why are we saying this? Because unfortunately some people misunderstand this law. They completely misunderstand this law to the point they do not do anything in life and say, well, it's decreed, it's written. It's not an excuse just to not do anything and say, well, it's written. This is completely wrong in Islam. You have to do something about the situation. And this is what the Prophet did. The Prophet Jacob did with his sons. He first of all gave them an action plan to change the situation. He kept his faith in Allah that things will improve, will change. And he taught his sons something now to take for the rest of their lives, that you have to go and change things when it happens to you. You have to seek ways to get out of the situation. You never give up, because you have the help of Allah with you. And you have in your mind that even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribes certain things to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who changes the situation for you. It is the one who helps you change what happens to you. So this is very important. Again, as I said, understanding the law of divine will and decree is one of the most critical things that you can apply in your life. And it's not easy. As I said, a lot of people know it. A lot of people acknowledge certain things about it. But when it comes down to it, a lot of people really lose it. A lot of people do not live it the right way. A lot of people do not apply it when it really happens to them. When something strikes them, they just fall down, they just collapse. So to conclude, one of the most important grand laws is the law of divine will and decree. Live your life knowing that whatever happens to you, whatever success you plan for, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has His plan, and whatever happens because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written this thing, and this is the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will continue talking about this topic, so stay tuned with us. Thank you for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.